hold on tight. 'Cause you know tomorrow may not bring that same thing that you said last night. Woo! Every time I find a little peace of mind, I hold on tight. 'Cause tomorrow may not bring the very same thing. No, no, no. Said none of the right there. You that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. For a sinner like me.
Well, hello, Mae Flowers. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, just simply fantastic, and thank you for asking. You're a very active lady. That you have a lot of amazing things for a lot of people in Denver, Colorado. Leave here without talking a little bit about, let's see, what they call it, the crack clothes house or something. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, I have a little in-home, new and near new merchandise, odd and different things, and I resell. I dress bodies for funeral homes when people don't have enough money. I contribute to them.
I know for a fact that that's not all you contribute to. My changes in life and things, the Lord put you in my path. 2 years, but he left you here, and he probably left you here for people like me. Because when I was making that change and lost everything, I didn't know how I was going to ever get my wardrobe back. And then one day I sat next to Miss Mae, and oh my Lanta, I mean, everything just changed. I mean, I just don't know how to thank you enough, Miss Mae. And I know I'm not the Lone Ranger. And I don't know how many people know, but Miss Mae has clothed a lot of people in Denver, Colorado. A lot of people that you would know. And that's a breast cancer survivor. We have a story. We know you're a survivor. So would you like to just pick it up from the beginning, please?
My name is Mae Flowers. I am 87 years old. I live in Denver. I've been in Denver 36 years. After moving to Denver, I had never had a mammogram. So my sister kept after me to have a mammogram. So the first mammogram I had showed something. So they asked me to come back. Then they did a biopsy and it was malignant. Biopsy, they set up all the procedures and stuff for surgery. I had surgery in 1989 or either in 1990.
Mammogram, what did the mammogram show?
It showed like a cloud in the breast. The doctors couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel it, but the mammogram showed it.
The mammogram showed it. And this was your first time?
First time I had a mammogram.
And could you just share a little bit, maybe how the doctors came and how they broke the news to you?
Yes. My doctor was Dr. Abernathy. He was from Grand Junction. And I guess he was one of the real good surgeons. After the biopsy, I was called in, sat up on the bed, and he said, "Let me see." Oh, it wasn't cancerous. He said, "Oh, yes, it was," and it was a pretty big one. And that's how it started.
The doctor said it was, it wasn't, and then it was a pretty big one.
At first, he said it was not. Then he opened the folder and he said, "Oh, yes, it was," and it was a pretty big one. And then from there, he started making plans for what they were going to do.
So he told you at that time that it was cancer.
Right. After the biopsy.
He prescribed for you to do.
He said they had a meeting with the other doctors and everything, and they decided that I should have surgery. And then after surgery, I would have chemo. And after chemo, I would have radiation.
Which one went first, and what was your lifestyle like at this time? I mean, were you working in school? What were you doing?
I was a temporary employee at the United Bank of Denver. So I would work there, and they suggested that I have chemo first and then radiation after the chemo. The chemo took about 3 months. I would go like every 3 weeks, go home. They called me the next day, "Are you okay?" "I'm at work." So I was okay.
Wait, excuse me. So you did the chemo and went back to work?
I would take chemo like at 2:30 or 3:30 and go home. And then they would call the next day to see if everything was okay. And I'd be at work.
30 or so, the day's about over.
Over, yes.
So you just went on back home.
I just go home, yeah.
Chemo affect you any kind of way?
Only time it affected me was the last chemo I had. I bought some Chinese food on my way home, and the smell of the garlic made me sick. That's the only time I got sick through chemo.
Well, what about when you started the radiation?
Okay, radiation, I was still working at the bank. We set up a time, and I would go to Colorado. I think it was a university then, University of Colorado. Go to and have my radiation, which was at 11:30, and I would take my lunch hour from the bank and go and have it didn't take but a minute. So, and then I go back to work.
Radiation for your lunch break to work.
Right.
Did you have any effects from the radiation?
That I detected. No. Weeks I did. Went back every day on lunch hour, then go back to work.
When they did the radiation and the chemo, the first move that they were making, or was this after they made their move? Which sequence was that?
This was after the surgery.
And when you say the surgery, do you mind sharing what the surgery is?
Yeah. Lumpectomy. They went in and took the cancer out and the lymph node, because 2 of the lymph nodes was cancerous. And during that time, they took them all out. So they took all my lymph nodes from under my right arm.
That sounds like a very, very serious ordeal. And how long ago was this, Miss Mae?
33 years ago.
You're another individual that overcame this terrible, terrible disease. And you're still here 32 years later.
Right.
If you were to tell someone, or someone was going through this at this time, what would you advise them, or what should their mental state be?
Gosh, I would just say take each day at a time.
So Normally when you hear people going through radiation and things, there's hair loss, they go through quite a dramatic thing, but you obviously didn't go through all that.
I did have hair loss, but not totally. I had enough to have a little natural and a little bangs, so nobody really knew except the people I told.
Okay, so you was wearing like a little cavadas with a bang?
Yes, right.
Okay, well you still was cute, right?
I was cute all the time.
Okay.
The whole time.
Well, you still cute, Miss Mae.
Okay.
Now, another question. When you had this surgery, a lot of times I've seen when some have the implants and some do not. You given that opportunity to make that choice?
I wasn't, but I didn't even consider it.
That wasn't even a consideration for you.
No, I just patted the bra.
That's with that at all, with nothing.
No, not at all.
Do you have any siblings or anyone else? Did anyone else in your family have this disease?
Yes. My mother's sister had breast cancer she passed at the age of 61. I still have 2 sisters and 1 brother. Out of 7 brothers, I only have 1 left.
7 brothers and how many sisters? 2.
2.
Family, carrier of both sides.
Right. A miracle.
Everything they had, you have.
I've had.
And when you went to get monogram at 55?
54.
54, and somewhere in there, and then you had all these people leaving around 61, you really were kind of worried.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Can I ask a question? Lord, I don't ever want to hear that news, but is it is it a joke?
Yeah, it's like a joke. And he just sit there and looked at me and what next, But I'm a carrier of both sides of my family. Everything that they had, I've had. Especially this one aunt. She had ulcers, I've had ulcers. She had diabetes, I have diabetes. She had breast cancer and she passed away at the age of 61. So at 61, I'm really afraid, right? Because everything that she had, I had also. Then on my father's side, I had almost everything. I carried everything his side of the family had. So I'm a carrier.
So, Miss Mae, you said your daughter went through something like this?
And when she went and had the mammogram, she had almost the same spot as I did. She had a lumpectomy. She had to go through almost the same things as I did, only it's more modern now.
So it went on down into your children.
Hers was a lumpectomy. She had radiation, but she refused chemo because they said it would probably increase her life by 11 years. So she didn't go through that. But I think she took the chemo pills or something she takes. She still takes. She's over her 5 years. Survived
it as well.
Right.
Aunt, you said you and your daughter, was the aunt on the mother's side or the father's side?
Mother's side.
It's just like it's in your gene. You are a miracle, a fabulous, marvelous miracle. You really are. And your story is just something to be told. Miss Mae, I really am glad that you stopped by. I'm really glad that you shared with the public. I don't know if you consider it personal, but I guess I would consider it personal. And I'm glad that you were willing to share this story. And a lot of women go together and they stick together, and I know a lot of women go through this. That's why we have this month dedicated to it. But I just wanted to be one to say thank you again for coming. So thankful to God that you're still here, and you have blessed me so much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.